Welcome to Take a Look. Summer's winding down, but the movies are blowing strong. Twisters, the #1 biggest live-action open of the summer and showing no signs of letting up. Until... Wait! Time!
You look ridiculous.
Deadpool and Wolverine punch, slash, and claw for that #1 spot. We'll go behind the scenes around the world with the cast and crew and more. What's more? I don't know. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's do it. Summertime. By the way, that's how I hide behind the TVs in Costco to take advantage of their air conditioning. This is the show where we talk about things on big screens and small screens, TV series and movies, and oh, who am I kidding? You probably already binge-watched the entire season of The Bear, so let's just talk about movies. Twister, killing it. Deadpool, Wolverine, about to hit it. The mere mention of Glenn Powell and Ryan Reynolds means I'm slipping on your drool.
I know. We were talking about all the amazing men. I mean, actors. Everyone's a great actor, but Ryan Reynolds and Glenn Powell.
Exactly. Hey, my name's Mark S. Allen. This is Kelly Savannah Deaton, travel blogger and male aficionado. So,
well,
am I mistaken? Is everybody excited? Like men, women, every people of all ages, all backgrounds, all ethnicities, all everything, all in for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Everybody's all in because of the two lead actors and their friendship, their real life friendship that crosses over into this film.
Yeah.
They're so excited. I can't believe that it took them this long to partner and make a movie.
Not since Tom Cruise crossed the globe 2 times to promote his Mission Impossibles have you seen a movie so promoted globally as this. 5 premieres, 5 days.
And they even go to the Korean Water Bomb Festival.
Right?
They're engaged with their fans and what the cities have to offer. That's how passionate they are about this movie. They're in it to win it with this one, and they do.
I can't even keep up with where we caught up with it. Where did we catch up with it?
I think it was London.
Yes,
London.
the London premiere when we asked them the question I always ask, excited part, what are you most excited about? And they almost plot spoiled. Listen.
Oh, it's those days we can't necessarily talk about.
Well, I can talk about the first day we walked on set wearing the uniform. And for me, wearing the yellow and blue for the first time. But together we came out, and there we were at Pinewood here in London, and the crew that, you know, let's just say they worked a lot of movies before. There was a hush amongst everyone, and that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, I knew it was something auspicious about it, but I didn't recognize how intense that would feel. That whole crew was just silent when we were standing next to each other in those suits, and it was a real eye-opener for me. Shocked.
Oh, check it out. Oh, I love that. I love the fans. You notice, like, some of the cosplayers look better than the actual characters.
They do. They definitely do.
That's commitment.
That is major commitment.
Speaking of commitment, I'm my own segue helper. So let's go back into the MCI, into Marvel Universe.
Yep.
Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, sitting down with Ryan Reynolds. And when we talk
no.
about commitment, you needed help with commitment. How? Set this up.
So I interviewed Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, and naturally related to the movie I was interviewing them about, I asked them, how do I get my boyfriend of 6 years to propose? And they gave me epic advice. Take a look.
Serious question. Are you ready?
Ready.
So your character finds true love in this film with Sonia, your wife, and you both have very enviable relationships with your wives in real life. So I've been with my boyfriend a little over 6.5 years, and he's a little gun shy. So what are a couple words of encouragement or motivation, like proposal ideas, anything you can bring up?
Proposal ideas.
Yeah, he's a little gun shy. You guys are both married. You have marriage and love in this movie. Give him some advice.
I say he better get to it or you're going to get to stepping.
6.5 years?
Right?
That's a long time.
She ain't going nowhere. 6.5 years, she ain't going nowhere. I lived with my wife 10 years before I married her.
Oh, don't say that. That's not going to help me.
I'm just giving you what's real. You know, and
10 years?
At the 10th year, you just have some wedding invitations printed with his name on them, and you send them out to his family and your friends and tell them better be there.
Yeah.
But won't that make me seem crazy? No?
No.
No.
It'll
All
make
right.
you seem
I
like
like
you've
a
been
good
there 10
ultimatum.
years and you've had enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I like that. I'll show him this.
Yeah.
I'll tell him you guys are going to check
That's
up
just
if
for
he
you.
doesn't.
Yeah. That's kind of what happened to mine.
So that's what happened there. Hey, by the way, thank you, Brandon, our editor, for dropping in the Deadpool expletive. I love
Yeah.
that. All right, so an update on that. It did work. He did
work.
engage.
Yes, but, and we've still
proposed.
been engaged. Yeah, now we've been together almost 13 years. So it's been a little past that, but I haven't made my own wedding invitations. I'm not going to take that advice. That seems a little cray-cray.
So you have the failure to commit at this point.
All right, I'm just kidding.
So back to the movie at hand. There are so many great cameos in this. Like they didn't want to spoil, we don't want to spoil them either. But I do want to tell you one I can tell you about. He crushed it in 1 and 2.
Oh, Dopinder, the cab driver.
Exactly. And he confirmed to me that he's back in this. So I said, hey, you want to catch up and go for a drive? So we met up in San Francisco for a drive.
Wait a minute. Did you drive him around?
That's the funny thing about it. That's what I proposed. And I think back in the day, 20th Century Fox would have let me. But now that they merged with Disney, the Disney executive said no.
No, yeah, that checks out.
They must have Googled me.
Must
we had somebody else doing the driving. Look.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So for someone who became famous driving a car, is it nice just to be riding in a car?
It's the best to be driven. It's the best.
Can I say in the new movie, do we tell people whether you're driving or not in the new movie?
I don't think I can say, but this is such a good question because we've been holding these secrets for so long now, but it's almost over.
Every time I talk to you...
I won't have to... I mean, the amount I've lied to my own parents, so it sounds so bad because I've just lied to them about so many things.
And, I have talked to you before. I was pulling, some archives, and often you're stuck in a position where you say, I can't wait till I don't have to lie or don't have to hold the secrets.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting. It's exciting that people want to know about something, and it's exciting to surprise people.
I love how your character has grown. I love how important your character is. Did you ever see that coming?
No, not at all, because specifically my character's not in the comics. So when I first got the job, I was a little bit like, this is not going to be something that's going to continue.
Yeah.
And, it was a very nice surprise that Ryan wanted it to continue, and I'm always happy to reunite with him.
Your stardom has certainly risen. When's the first time, or what's the most memorable time someone shouted across the street, Dopinder, or Deadpool driver?
Yeah, well, the best one I get is a lot of people want to high five me because in the first movie he pays me with a crisp high five. But so I get very weird places where people want to high five, and the worst was at a urinal after this gentleman had just had his hand near his private parts.
Sure.
Saw me next to him, pulled his hand on the urinal, and said, can I get a high five? And I'm so codependent that I gave it to him. But I shouldn't have probably done that. But yeah, that was the one.
All right, seriously, let's move it along. Go see Deadpool Wolverine. We're going to be talking about that next week, I guarantee it.
Yes.
In the meantime, talking about big and small screens. Hey, back to the MC Universe, Drax!
That's kind of a stretch, but I see where you're going with this.
All right, well, Dave Bautista is in a new My Spy. If you like the original, well, now she's all grown up. Chloe, now a teenager, as is the character.
Yep, a lot of teenage angst forthcoming in this one.
We'll talk about that next. Hey, welcome back. It is Take a Look. We talk about things on big screens and small screens. Kelly Savannah Deaton over there. My name is Mark S. Allen. Now I'm kind of talking about both because it's on big screens for a nanosecond. Then it goes to Amazon where you can see the sequel to My Spy,
Eternal City.
Eternal City. Dave Bautista is back. Chloe, who, if I'm doing the math right, shot this 2 years before the pandemic, was a kid then, teenager now.
And that's what I love about this movie is we see a new facet. She's in her teenage years. She's kind of opposing anything and everything having to do with him, and that makes for an epic pairing.
Kind of reminds me, it's probably this century's answer to Spy Kids. Remember those movies?
Which also starred Glenn Powell.
Bringing it back to Twisters. Well, back to this anyway.
Sorry,
I sat down with the two of them. Like you said, during the break, we were talking about how great this is that it was largely shot near the Vatican.
Yes, and I love when they do that, when the second film, sometimes they're not as good as the first, but with this one it is because they actually travel around the world and they go to the Vatican City. Hijinks ensue throughout this whole thing, and I love it.
Mad respect for her in this, holding her own, especially in some of the more action-involved scenes. Take a look.
So for each of you, now that this duo has been a duo for a while, tell me something that would surprise me about the other person. Chloe, what would surprise me about Dave?
I mean, he has a tattoo for me. I don't know if a lot of people know that or not.
Yeah,
That's a little fun fact about
I got
him.
a tattoo inspired by Chloe Colton.
Yeah, which is really sweet. That's a fun fact.
Oh, that's cool. I can see you got a sweater. We probably can't see it right now.
No.
Am I right?
It's on my leg.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, tell me something that would surprise me about Chloe.
I think I think a lot of people will be surprised that she's actually the most professional actor on set. She's the most prepared. She's the most structured. And that has a lot to do with her mom and her parents. Keep her very structured. But she's since we met, since she was a young child, she was 9 years old. She's just been so professional and so prepared. It's just it's obnoxious.
It is obnoxious. She is great in this, and specifically in the physical action scenes. I mean, keep in mind, he's a guy, his whole life has been grounded in the physicality with WWF, WWE, got his butt kicked by James Bond, and of course, all the Marvel stuff.
Thanos, he's pretty much got his butt kicked this entire career.
So
and by her as well, so he keeps it on trend.
Who knew? She was the more professional.
Yeah, and by the way, you've never got a tattoo of me. Would that be weird?
That whole thing was weird. And by the way, you'll notice I have Band-Aids from time to time. It's because I'm trying to get tattoos removed. They don't just come off with one session. I digress. We're talking about movies. Let's move it along. Coming up next, a movie that you've got to check out before you take that next sip of bubbly, a tribute to one of the founding women of Champagne.
Yep, Widow Clicquot.
That's next. Hey, welcome back. It is Take a Look. Thanks for hanging out. That is Kelly Savannah Deaton guesting today. My name is Mark S. Allen. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. Let's see, what have we been? We're going to be talking about Twisters. We just got through talking to a wrestler. We've been talking about Daredevil, Wolverine. Now it's time to culture it up a little bit. How are we doing that?
By talking about Widow Clicquot, the founding, I was going to say founding father, but see, that's what this movie proves.
Exactly.
The
Look at you.
founding woman of the Champagne Empire of Veuve Clicquot.
I will never have a glass of champagne again without thinking of her. I didn't realize this story. The year is 1799. Women are not allowed to be in business. Her husband passed away as the guy pretty much running the champagne, the wine business. She created the actual distilling process that we use to this day to make sparkling wine and specifically champagne, and just how she was able to persevere during a time that women weren't doing so well.
Yeah, and that's what's incredible is it's based off a best-selling book, and Haley Bennett actually created the star of She Plays Madame Clicquot.
Yeah.
She actually took that book, made it, produced it, and put it into this film and created an epic role for herself, and I think she nailed it to a T.
I talked to director and star. Her explanation for the role needed a standing ovation. Take a look.
So it was great. I mean, it's a gift of a story. It's such a wonderful historical, a moment in history. Just after the French Revolution, with this young couple in their house trying to build a life together, and aesthetically, it's a complete gift.
Exactly. I will never pop a bottle of anything without thinking back to the story, the origins, how much we owe to her. And so, Hallie, there's so many great moments from you in this movie, but let's jump to the third act. You're addressing the council. It's a very quiet scene, and you say so many poignant words, so intense. Where was your mind? How was the prep? How did it feel?
I think that holding my own hand and walking through the fire was something that was on my mind a lot of the time making this film. Whenever I have felt terror or dread, but I do that thing anyway, I feel like I always come out on the other side stronger. I think that was something that was very present in that scene and powerful in that scene. And though, this is a period film, so you don't have the satisfaction of a woman coming in swinging, but in her own kind of graceful way. And in my own way, I felt so empowered just to be standing in that courtroom on my own, surrounded by men, and standing there centered, vulnerable, everything stripped away, and with just myself, and not holding anybody's hand, not needing anybody's hand to hold. When you're a child, you want your mom, you want your dad. I think it's a really powerful symbol of a woman holding her own hand and doing and making difficult decisions and saying the difficult thing. And I felt really very strong and empowered in that moment.
As she should. That might be the most poignant response I've ever gotten to a question ever. Take that, Deadpool. It is so phenomenal. See this on a big screen. The DP, one of the best in the business. It is gorgeous to watch. And think about it next time you pop a bottle of...
Veuve Clicquot.
Veuve Clicquot. And Veuve means...
Well, widow en français translates to...
Veuve Clicquot.
Yeah, Veuve Clicquot. That means widow Clicquot.
And now you know. And what does that cost for like a bottle?
I don't know. I've never paid for it myself.
What? We just propped up a beautiful feminist moment and you blew it. You ruined it. It's about $50, so about a third price of Dom Perignon.
I never knew.
Moving right along, the #1 movie at the box office, clearing about $100 million as of now. It is Twisters. Glenn Powell, Hollywood's it guy, and the cast join us, as well as one of the nation's leading authorities on tornadoes. Who is it? You're gonna meet her next. Hey, welcome back to Take a Look. Before we wrap this up, let's talk about the movie that crushed it last week. Still #1 at the box office, of course, until Deadpool Wolverine has its run. We were talking about Twisters.
Yes, with Glenn Powell.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think he is Hollywood's it guy right now? What is the power?
You know, I think he's this generation's of Matthew McConaughey. And to bring that full circle, the first rom-com he ever saw was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Exactly. All right. So as you're watching the movie Twisters, back to the movie at hand and the story, are you worried about whether it's authentic, whether it's real, whether this could really happen?
I am, yes. I definitely think we need to bring in an expert here to actually delve into that.
That's why we tracked down one of the nation's most leading authorities on all things tornadic. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Elizabeth Smith, welcome. How are you?
Hi. Good, how are you?
Good. So I see a diploma behind you, University of Oklahoma. That means you know a little something from the birth of tornadoes, I'm guessing.
Absolutely, yes. So I'm fortunate to work here in Norman at the National Severe Storms Lab, and we're co-located with the university, and we are really in the hotbed of tornadoes and tornado research in the country.
Absolutely.
And speaking on to that, when you watch a Hollywood movie such as Twisters, I don't know if you've seen the film yet, but the trailers, you've been researching about it. Have you ever thought to yourself, they didn't really capture the trueness, the realism that you yourself would implement if you made this movie?
Sure. So, I mean, when you look at a movie like the original Twister or Twisters, there are definitely some scientific inaccuracies, but the cast did actually work very closely with the place here I work, with the lab, with NOAA, to try to get some things pretty accurate, and they did a pretty good job. But as a scientist and as a meteorologist, seeing a movie right in my lane, so to speak, of course I'm going to see some of those inaccuracies and maybe be a little sensitive to them. But what's really important here is that this movie is created to provide entertainment and also really just kind of start the conversation on some of the science, what our warnings do, how our technology works. And so it's still a good tool and a good experience for all of us.
Awesome. Now, when I see the movie, I kind of see that reflected in that there's some people that are chasing the tornadoes, like people that would pretty much be doing exactly what you were doing, but at the same time, we see these knuckleheads that are YouTubers or people that are just fans of the YouTubers rushing in. Is that recommended or not?
Yeah, so I mean, storm chasing is dangerous, and as you'll see in the film, and if you've seen, Twister, the original one, you'll see that tornadoes are powerful. And if you are not well informed or well educated, it can be actually really hard to determine where they're coming from and where they're going. So having the expertise to chase safely is absolutely critical. And so when we go out and do that for our research purposes, safety is a #1 priority, and we're always planning our escape routes and things like this in real time. And if you don't have experience or education in doing that, you might not know how to best do that and keep yourself safe. So we definitely don't recommend just anybody run out there and start chasing. It definitely does take some expertise.
All right, thank you so much. Hey, Dr. Elizabeth Smith, if you feel it,
chase it.
Okay, all right. Who's Hollywood? You're a little Hollywood.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Dr.
Thanks for all you do to make the world a better place.
Thank
all right.
you.
All right, so back to the cast. Who discovered the formation of tornadoes? Fujita. Who discovered Glenn Powell, your boyfriend?
He was in Spy Kids 3 as early as 2003.
Well, a
I
little
don't know
bit
who
after that.
discovered him, but he's been in a lot of things, including endorsements from the one and only action god, Tom Cruise, who was invited to the premiere by Glenn, and he actually showed up and sat right next to him.
Back to my original question. The answer was Denzel Washington, but I almost forgot the question. Regardless, I talked to them. Take a look. See this movie on the big screen, and I love that you brought up the theater. There's a moment where you yell in this movie, "Get to the theater!"
Yeah.
And I want to tell people, get to the theater.
Did you notice I winked right afterwards?
Exactly. You want to see this on the biggest screen possible because
all the work that went into it in post-production. These storms are massive. This movie is a disaster action storm film, you know, and there's nothing like seeing it in IMAX.
It feels so immersive. It feels like you're chasing with us, and like, you know, it's as close as, you know, I would want to be is watching it on the big screen.
I think it's really classic storytelling, but the team around it, I mean, look, you have Frank Marshall and Steven Spielberg, who are two of the godfathers of the blockbuster, you know, and you have people in the visual effects thing that became visual effects artists because of the original Twister, and now they're guiding Twisters, you know, on this journey. But we really have the best of the best in terms of every department head, and we took the time to shoot it on film, right, to shoot it in Tornado Alley. You're really cutting yourself short, selling yourself short if you're not experiencing it in the biggest format possible.
Amen to that, Kelly's boyfriend, Glenn Powell. And while you're at it, see it not only IMAX, see if you can see it in a D-Box. I saw it for the third time in D-Box. I had like 2 kidney stones. It rattled them loose. It did exactly what I needed it to do. So
Well, then there you go. Perfect.
there you go. Kelly Savannah Deaton, where do we find you?
Kelly Savannah Deaton.
All right, Instagram, I'm TV Marquez Allen. Thank you so much for watching. Don't walk until the credits finish rolling. We'll keep rolling
stay
the
with
credits,
us.
and you be safe.
Yeah.